What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the 511 Innovations YouTube channel. It's been a minute because I'm an idiot and I forget to film stuff because I'm not a YouTuber. But so I didn't even ever film an ending to the last project with Jamie's car. So go check out the Facebook page if you want to see pictures of that thing wrapped up. I finished the harness in it, custom stainless brake lines on it. But now we got a new project. Check it out. So this is Todd Bylsma's SMX Procharged powered sand drag Jeep. You've probably seen on like Steve Morris's channel on YouTube and that kind of thing. And it's here for a complete rewire. And we'll replumb some of the CO2 to the transmission and that kind of thing. But this thing's sweet. If I can find I'll dig up a video of it making a pass and you'll see just how violent this thing is. It's rowdy, but so like I said, Procharged, methanol, SMX, 16 injectors. We've started like printing prototype bulkhead plates. So there was like the seals it grommets here. So you can see there's the big holes. So printed these out and I'm gonna have these made out of aluminum. But these are good while those get made for me to build the harnesses. This will be, you know, the engine harness, and then there'll be a separate one for the intake. So if he wants to pull the intake off, all the injectors and all the sensors attached to the intake will be separate, so he can pop that off. And then if he wants to pull the whole engine, pop both of these, engine will come out. So we're gonna do everything, all new battery cables, CO2 plumbing, wiring. We'll shorten up the EGT probes, make that all fit nice. Up to this point, we've really just been mounting a lot of stuff. Kind of been, you know, like routing everything in clamps, and there's some lights that I'm mounting. So like up here, there's another one back there. I got so here's the interior. There was that plate over there with all the electronics on it, mounts to the floor right here. So we're gonna reuse that, but I moved the Pro 600 up here. Need another rubber mount for here. Pro 600 is going to be up here. Everything attached to the dash here is all done and rewired. So, and then that just terminates to a DTM connector here. So this whole thing can come apart or come off separate. Yeah, it'll have one of our remote battery disconnects, and it'll be controlled here and in the back. I'll show you. There's this little LED light right here, mounts under the dash, and you can use this if he just wants just a little bit of light and doesn't want to be on the surface of the sun, like when he turns on that light. Fire system, obviously, and then this switch is going to toggle between his pump gas and his methanol tunes. So he'll be able to flip that up for pump gas, and then when he's done with the race or whatever, it'll switch to the pump gas tune. You can drain all the methanol out, fill it up with pump gas, and then run the engine on pump gas to drain all the methanol and clean all the injectors out. So everything lasts a good long time and doesn't get corrode or anything. So, and then back to methanol. And I'll probably have, I'll program a message to pop up on the screen like pump gas mode or something like that, just so it doesn't accidentally get left in this. Or I'll condition something in the ECU to where when it's in pump gas mode, it doesn't let it go on the two-step or something. Rewired, this is the switch panel. I put all these switches in it. Pretty cool 3D printed mount that they have there. I think Ty Marvin printed that, it's pretty sweet. And then that just terminates to a DTM connector that's gonna get mounted to a bar under there. I'm gonna use a motion steering wheel connector this time. And the harness, the curly cord harness will come off of there, and he'll be able to just disconnect it from here, pull the steering wheel off. And then like we're gonna start doing on all of our steering wheels, I'm gonna get buttons for this, and then I'm gonna actually solder the buttons and build my own harness to that. So there's only one curly cord coming from the steering wheel to under the dash. So I don't know, it's kind of a pet peeve of mine when there's just like 16 different curly cords coming off the steering wheel, draping all over your knees and getting caught and everything. So we'll clean that up. Added CO2 bottle pressure sensor from Low Dollar. I like to do that just because, especially in a combination like this, these bottles last quite a while. So it's easy to just kind of forget to check it. So I'll always be able to program an alarm to pop up on the dash if it gets below probably 400 PSI or so, because we need 300 PSI for the valves on the trans. So it's quick drive, converter drive. It has trans brake, lockup, and a dump valve. So all that'll get wired and plumbed. And that's about it for the inside. It's got a water pump here to circulate water through the heads. So that'll obviously get wired. Tranny cooler obviously isn't hooked up because with the single speed, you really don't need a tranny cooler. But we wired a plug for this anyways, just in case in the future he ever wants it. There's gonna be spares all over this car. Because in a combination like this, there's not a whole ton of sensors. So there's quite a bit of openings in the Dominator for I/O and the dash for that matter. So I like to fill them, or at least use a lot of the empty ones and run spares. So, because things change, we almost always end up using the spares. So, Braille lithium battery, one of our contactors. I haven't got a label on this yet, but we're coming out with a line of contactors, so that'll be good. Another button back here for crew or safety crew at the track or whatever. This is another prototype bracket. I'm gonna have this made out of aluminum too, but for wiring purposes it's perfect. And then this will just turn on the work lights in the back. So I'll be able to use that button to turn the work lights on and off. Shock travel sensors. And then he's got a couple of lights back here that will get wired up. But this thing's sweet, extremely violent and fast. So hopefully towards the end of this year, get the chassis working good, and this thing will be really, really hard to beat. So that's exciting. Super excited to work on it. All the design is done. So I'm gonna go through one more time and just do my checks on those with a fresh brain and sign off on the build. And then we'll start building harnesses. And there's a few more things got to get mounted. A couple more little things. So I kind of printed like this little mount so I could stack these MSDs. These came with it, so we're just going to reuse these. These are good anyways. Never had a problem with these. So these will get stacked on the plate here. And then there's a third one here that's got some spares. So for these, we'll just run like injector power through these, and then like the water pump output. The trans fan output, and then some of the lights run through here because we have so much open I/O in the Dominator, a lot of the push buttons for the lights and stuff I'm running as an input, so that way we can condition them to do whatever we want in the future. All the switches from the switch panel run into the Dominator as an input, so if he changes what he wants to do with those switches later, all we got to do is just reprogram it, and it's perfect. You can do whatever you want. So really future-proof, or if he ever decides to, switch chassis or something, then he can just pull this plate out, mount it in a place in the new chassis where all the bulkheads reach, and then worst case, we'll just have to make new harnesses that go from the firewall out, So that'll save a whole lot of time and money in the future. These are the valves for the transmission. So you got like your trans brake, lockup, and dump. They are controlled with these. CO2. And so far, I think that's it. Car's been here about a week, I think. So on top of other stuff we've got going on, I think that's pretty good. The design usually takes, a good chunk of time to really nail down, and then just getting everything mounted so you actually know where you need to route stuff to. Also, we added some buttons up here. So this button is bump button for the starter, so for lashing valves. There's one here, there's one over there, and then this one here is for the work lights in the engine bay. So that one, another thing we're doing in the Dominator is this is just a momentary button, but I'm gonna program that so momentary push turns the lights on, but then say like they're in a rush to get up there and they throw the front end on this thing and they forget to turn the lights off. Well, all those lights will turn back off again, you know, with the battery or whatever we want to program it to. He could have another button on the Pro Dash inside that turns them on and off, so he can turn them off even with the front end on. If that was a latching button, then they'd have to pull the front end off again and to turn the buttons off. So gonna play with some programming in the Dominator and do some cool stuff just because we have all the extra I/O to play with. So yeah, there'll be more videos of this thing coming, but kind of an introduction of what we're working on next. We got some really serious rigs coming in the next couple months, and I'm excited about it. So this one, if all goes well, will be done for the Hayfield Shootout in Williamsburg, Michigan. So if you want to check it out and watch it run, you should come to that. Look it up on Facebook, September 12th, I believe that is. So hopefully we can get it done and maybe make a test pass or two before then. And that'll be, I think, its first race out. So we'll see you there. Stay tuned for the next video with some more updates.